more soldiers for the civil unrest. Oh yes, Father, won't you send out your best? 50 son of faith might hear still strongest. Oh Lord.
Reggae is the sound of truth, traveling on bass lines, teaching the oppressed to stand tall, and the lost to remember who they are. And that is a quote from yours truly. And this quote addresses one of the main reasons I created Hippie-Fari, the beautiful, life-changing message of reggae music. It was created for social change, and its message is as strong today as it was in the 60s when the first reggae records were released in Jamaica. So welcome to another episode of Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast, recorded live in the Omen Honey Reggae Radio and Media Studios in the beautiful Ocala National Forest in sunny Florida. I am your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie, and Hippie-Fari is that podcast where we discuss all things reggae. So if reggae music is your thing, you are in the right place. Now, every so often, you come across someone who isn't chasing the spotlight. They're shining it. Someone who understands that music isn't just sound. It's connection, it's community, and it's energy moving from one heart to another. So tonight's guest is someone who lives right in that space. Rooted in the local scene, raised on reggae vibrations, and driven by a genuine love for artists who are out there grinding to make their dreams real. Week after week, she's out there sharing what she's listening to, lifting up voices that deserve to be heard, and reminding us that supporting music doesn't have to be complicated. It simply has to be honest. She's worn multiple hats in the music world, seen things from behind the scenes, and somehow kept it light, fun, and real through it all. If you've ever wondered how community actually gets built in music, not through algorithms, but through intention, this conversation is for you. So family, I am totally excited for this one. Please welcome the sponsorship coordinator of Sugar Shack Sessions to the show, Marina Kelley. What's going on, Marina?
Thank you so much for the nice words.
Right on. Thank you very much for doing what you do and taking time out of your busy schedule. I know we have tried to set this up quite a few times. I had a couple things happen. You had a couple things happen. But, well, damn it, man, we made it happen. So I'm really excited about this.
Me too.
Absolutely beautiful. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much. And I'm definitely looking forward to getting into these questions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go for it. So for the people who just might be discovering you for the first time, how would you describe what you do in the beautiful music world of reggae and with Sugar Shack?
Ooh. Well, I always pride myself on the fact that everything I do it with the intention for the musician to be able to focus on the music and me to focus on the business.
Beautiful.
So, I mean, in a nutshell, I'm doing everything I possibly can behind the scenes for them to be able to keep their livelihoods going, just focusing on music.
Yes.
Within Sugar Shack, I've done a few different things with them. Right now, I'm focusing on sponsorship, so trying to get the boys some more money to be able to do some really cool things to help some musicians out.
That's fantastic. And I know I mentioned Sugar Shack. That's just like the tip of the iceberg of what you do. And I love how you said you focus on everything else so the musicians can focus on the music. I used to be in electronic dance music, had a record label, and, when you were managing the artists, it's like, well, what do you do as a manager? Everything to keep the artist focused on the music.
Exactly.
Pretty much everything they don't want to do is kind of what you do. Even all the way to picking them up and taking them to the shows so they don't even have to concentrate on driving, so they can just focus on what they have to do. So it's pretty awesome. I know that you said that you were kind of raised on reggae music. What did that look like growing up? Was it family, friends, shows, the culture around you, or kind of just everything?
It was mainly my dad. He would take us out on the boat. He would take us to the beach.
Yes,
and every
nice.
time he would just be playing like Jimmy Buffett, Bob Marley, Jack Johnson, just like really uppity, good stuff. He would play Steel Pulse, like roots reggae mainly.
Yes.
And then he started taking us to shows. And so we'd get to experience it for ourselves. And that was just life-changing for me. I feel like that's where I finally found a genre of music where I felt like I can hit shuffle and let any of it play, and it's going to, make me feel better. It's gonna lift my spirits, and so that was something that was pretty cool. But that was basically because of my dad. and those fond memories from childhood of him playing that type of music.
That's absolutely fantastic, and it's great that you mentioned Jimmy Buffett. Rest in love, Jimmy. I have been a reggae head my entire life, ever since I think the age of 11, when I was surfing and heard Peter Tosh for the first time. A lot of people's introduction to reggae is Bob Marley, and don't get me wrong, love Bob, and he was definitely a huge influence. But what really pulled me into it was Peter Tosh. But at the same time, I just absolutely loved and still do Jimmy Buffett. Some of the most amazing live shows, I mean, I think anybody could have ever gone to. And the parrot heads that follow him in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Hilarious
I got to
people,
see him
man.
twice
So much fun. Oh,
before
cool.
he passed. So that was really cool. I went both times with my family too. So that was really, really cool to be able to experience that with them.
Absolutely. I only got to go to one show, believe it or not, but it was wild. I was listening to him on the XM satellite radio on his channel, and it was about 5 months before he passed, and he goes, "I'm going to be doing this shit forever until the day I die." And sure enough, he next I heard a couple months later, he passed away. So it's definitely sad. Rest in love, Jimmy.
They used to do the Radio Margaritaville. They used to do that out of Margaritaville over in Orlando, like on City Walk.
Oh, yeah.
And, JD, I always remembered his name because that was always so funny to me. JD, the DJ.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he let me introduce a song one time.
Oh, cool.
I
Like
think I was
on the
probably
air?
like 16, 17. Yeah.
Oh,
He
that's
let me
dope.
do it. And that's where I was like, oh, wait, how do I do what he's doing? That would be a cool job. And it just got me looking into some more jobs that are like actually attainable.
Yes, right.
So that was super cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, obviously I do the podcast and I have a radio show. And yeah, I know. I feel you on that. Yeah, it's just once you kind of get that taste. I mean, if it's in your blood, it's in your blood, and it's just something you love. It's like, I mean, I get goosebumps every time I get to do it. So I totally understand where you're coming from. So you have a thing that you call like Music Monday, which is pretty cool. We're definitely going to get into the nuts and bolts of that in a second. But before Music Monday became a thing, what was your relationship to discovering and sharing music?
My first job, I guess, I was getting paid for it. It was more of an internship. I went to Full Sail University.
Right on, very familiar.
And, I was doing entertainment business as a master's. I actually ended up being valedictorian, and I kind of proved to myself that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Congrats on that, because that is a big ass school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, big time.
I finally feel like I found my footing doing that master's program, and I really enjoyed what I was learning. And it's like you care, so you want to know more, you want to learn more. And so that was kind of like the first thing where I was like, okay, well now how can I find some jobs now that I have this under my belt? It's only a year-long program.
Right.
So,
but that's an intense program, though. I mean, I had friends that went to Full Sail, and they would go to classes at like 3 a.m., no lie.
Yeah. There was, it was every month was a different class.
Right.
So it's very expedited, but it was cool. And they give it to you in bite-sized chunks. Like, it's not anything overwhelming. And the professors they have over there are top-notch. Like,
100%.
They know exactly what they're talking about, and they're worth listening to. So I found it to be super interesting. I really enjoyed it. But it got me into doing A&R. I was doing A&R.
Nice,
and then I was doing distribution.
Right.
And I was kind of learning some different aspects that I really didn't know a whole lot about.
Mm-hmm.
And then that is what evidently ended with me finding Sugar Shack. I'd always been a fan of them, saw them on YouTube.
Yes.
And then my brother lived right next door to somebody that was working with them. And she introduced me to everybody. So it was from then on that I started working with them. And then I was like, okay, now I can try out a bunch of different things. They need a lot of different roles taken care of. So I got to try on a lot of different hats doing that. And then outside of that, I've just been the same thing. Like it's like a ice cream shop, and I want to try all the flavors.
Yes. Wow. Speaking of that, I mean, yeah, I do love ice cream, but could you? I've done A&R. Like I said, I had a record label, Funky Flavor Music, back in the day, and one of the parts of owning a record label is doing A&R. But could you kind of explain that real quick for people? Because if you've done it, you just say A&R. Like everybody.
Right.
kind of knows, but most people have no idea even what it stands for, what it means. Could you kind of explain that real quick to everybody?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way for me to describe what my specific role was, I was looking to do playlisting. I was looking for people, I was a talent scout, looking for specific artists that would be interested in investing in my services of getting them onto playlists on Spotify.
Yes. That's
So
extremely important.
doing that is how I got to meet Dale and the Z-Dubs. We did a couple campaigns together on a couple of his singles.
Yep.
And I enjoyed that. That was a really cool opportunity for me to be able to learn and grow in that space. So she ended up, the company owner, she ended up dissolving the company and going a different route. So it was only about a year I was doing that. But I learned a lot within that year. And she was, super knowledgeable. She just also, young and wants to try all the flavors. She had other things she wanted to do.
Right, I completely understand that. That's funny. I have a great interview that I put out with Dale from Dale and the Z-Dubs at Point Break Festival in Virginia Beach last year. It was Dale and the Z-Dubs unhinged at Point Break, and if anybody has ever seen Dale in a video, pretty much every video could be titled Unhinged.
He's a wild card.
Oh, without a doubt. Yes, he's an absolute trip, though. This video was hilarious. Definitely a lot of editing, but there's some really good parts in it that every time I still watch it, I laugh my ass off. It's so funny, man. So funny. That's a trip. But let's talk about that Music Monday. Basically how it started and the original intention behind it. And when did you realize that it was becoming more than just like a casual post, that it was something people were really paying attention to?
In 2023, I was still living over in Fort Myers. I had just moved back over there after coming from Orlando from that master's program.
Yep.
I was kind of coming back into a different role over at Sugar Shack. And, that was never really a full-time thing for me. So I was also working at Bears Furniture. And I was just like, I need to do more. Like, there's something in me that wants to share this music, and I am sure that my friends are tired of me blowing up their phones. Listen to this, check this out.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided social media is yours. It's yours to do whatever you want with it. And I come from a very supportive family who, they don't care what I post. They're still going to hit it with a like and say, I love you. So
beautiful.
With that in mind, I was like, okay, I can have some fun with this because I don't really care what people think.
Amen.
I think this could be really cool and this can be really fun. So I just would start, I called it Music Monday. And on Mondays, I would just post 3 songs of things I was listening to that week. And then I turned it into a playlist. And as the years went on, I added more to it, to where I made it, there's a skit and then there's the 3 videos, and I edit them to be, fun to watch, but it's also sharing, again, just the 3 songs that I'm jamming to that week. Over the years too, I've branched out on what I'm posting every Monday. So it's not just that same thing. I'm now doing interviews with people, and I'm doing, I used to do them for myself. I think I'm going to start posting them again this year because they're like 2-3 years old now, but I do parts of songs that just do it for me. And that would be like anytime you listen to a song and there's like an ad lib or a lyric or like, I don't know, a guitar riff, something that stands out to you that's like, oh, I liked that.
Yeah.
Or like, that was weird. Or what did they just say? Like, I love that kind of stuff. Yep. So I started cutting those up and making that a thing of, these are just parts of songs that just do it for me. Yep. And then I started running out, and I'm friends with all these artists. So I figured, hey, would you want to do one? And now I'm at the point where people are asking me to do it.
That's
I'm
great.
Like, yes, let's do it. So it's become a really fun, interactive thing. But at the root of it, the whole point then and still is just getting people's music out there. Back to the A&R part of my brain of, I want to share what I'm finding. And I know that my friends aren't listening to them. So who's to say other people out there aren't either? I want to share that. I want to give it that platform.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And on my my radio show and also on my podcast, I call them the Select a Scotty Sessions. That's anybody can hear, the top, reggae tunes that are out there from the Spotify release radar or Root Fire's release radar. I like to dig really deep, even if it's, from, the 60s when reggae first started to the mid 70s when it started to get really political and hardcore all the way up to now. Just bands and songs that I know people would like, but chances are that they haven't heard. When you go on a Spotify, an artist and look at their song and it's got like that less than sign and it says 1,000, most people probably haven't heard it. But if it's good, I love to play it, and talk about it and talk about the band, talk about the artist, all the way down to where it was recorded, what year it was put out. So, and I love that. And people, they're hitting me up like, man, I've never heard, some of the stuff, or I didn't even know what UK Steppas was. I didn't even know that kind of music existed until I heard it. I heard you play it, and I was like, man, that makes you feel good. Knowing that I'm able to share something with people that they actually appreciate. That's like,
what kept me going with
yes.
it, is knowing that, I'm having these people reaching out to me saying, hey, it's super cool what you're doing for the music scene, and I really appreciate you doing this. And it's so nice to hear that, because that's all the intention was anyway.
Amen.
So to get that back is like, that feels amazing, to know I'm kind of doing it justice.
100%. That's a beautiful thing. And it's coming from the heart, and all good things definitely start with the heart. So how has Music Mondays changed the way that you listen to music?
I think I've really, over the years, I started with it kind of being like, this is just whatever I'm listening to. Right. But now there's more bands that I'm working closer with, and I kind of want to plug them a little bit. So sometimes if it's a song that I genuinely cannot get enough of, right, I kind of use it to promote that, of like putting their songs in there or putting an interview out with them specifically. Having one of them do a parts of songs that just do it for them. Right. And that's kind of where I've been able to have a little bit more fun with it, because I'm like, oh, I'm sharing, stuff that is my friend's work. Right. Or I don't even know them in real life, but I've been a fan, and they're, hey, check this out. And I listen to it. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's what I want to put out there. But I still feel like I'm catering to everybody, in the sense of making sure that it's not just what you'd expect from me. Of course, my niche is reggae. I think everybody knows that. But I don't just put myself in that box. So I like to share some other tunes, too, that maybe people don't know that I listen to.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, and doing what I do is definitely change the way I listen to music. Because, before I would kind of, if something came up, it was amazing, I'd add it to the playlist. But now I find myself really, people can go down the rabbit hole with music. I find myself really, really searching the deepest, darkest corners of the internet and, playlists and record labels and all that stuff to find stuff. Yeah, without a doubt.
I have found gold on TikTok that then I go and reshare it and realize I'm the first one that saw this. How am I? No, more people need to see it. More people need to hear this. Like, this is crazy that it's, and like you said, like on Spotify having the less than sign, it's like on TikTok with them not having a shit ton of likes and views. I'm like, what? How? Like, this is a real human being making real music. This is incredible.
Yep. Absolutely. I love the way you look at it, because that's exactly how I do too. I'm like, somebody a musician woke up that morning, put their pants on, tighten their belt, and they're like, I'm going to make a video for TikTok today to get my music out to the world. It just gets passed by so many people. It's amazing the stuff that gets likes on social media and the stuff that doesn't. Like, I'll post a track, I'm like, this is dope. It's like people just, pass it by, but, it's like the weirdest things. You'll have like 100 likes on, like, I bought a new car. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's amazing. I'm like, I'd rather know about a new track than what somebody's driving that I'll probably never even,
Scotty, I'm telling you, I promote the heck out of Music Monday, right? This is something I do weekly. People know it, they hear it. That is what I promote. Yep. I have a playlist called Reggae, but Make It Sexy. I barely promote that. And it has the most amount of saves out of any of my playlists.
Isn't that weird?
And it's like, it's a great playlist. Don't get me wrong. Like, I back that. But, like, that's not even the one I'm promoting. So it's that's also changed the way that I'm listening to music, because it's like, okay, well, people really liked that. What else can I do with that people like? Because, of course, I want to cater to my audience a little bit.
Yes.
but I gotta stay genuine and I gotta stay true to myself too. And I think people like that as well. I hope.
Yes, absolutely. And that means that there's people out there doing what you're doing because somebody found what you weren't promoting. Yeah, and they like it. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of like us finding the music that's not getting a ton of plays or whatever, you know what I mean, and playing it. There's people out there that are probably, like I said, doing the same thing, looking for the really, really, really good stuff. I love that. I actually got an email from a girl who was like, I found your Hippie-Fari playlist. Thank you. It's like 38 hours long. It's amazing. But I didn't even know it was public on Spotify, but I guess it is. And, people are digging it. So I was like, nice. That's so awesome to hear.
That is cool.
Because my personal playlist, I just named it after the podcast. So that was that was really cool. But you've actually, said you're not a musician yourself.
Right.
So how does that actually shape the way that you support artists? Not being a musician, but throwing them all the support. Does that actually kind of mold how you do it?
I think it's the appreciation I have for them being able to do it and me
There you go.
not.
Right on.
I grew up in competition with my big brother. Anything he did, I wanted to do it too, but just like a little bit different.
Sure.
Like he was super good at fishing, so I joined the
Right.
spearfish team in college.
Hell yeah. Oh, you're a diver?
Close, but not the same. I haven't done it in a while, I'll be honest. But like tons of fun. Love it.
Yeah,
Anytime I can, I will.
Me too.
So
yeah, I'm a diver.
that's the thing is I loved doing that. He was in a band in college. So that's kind of what made me go, how can I do that? But I don't have the patience to learn an instrument and I can't sing. So how can I do that too, but make it different? And that's kind of when I realized like, oh, well, I have such an appreciation for them being able to do it.
Sure.
I don't really want to do it. I want them to be able to shine. If they're so talented that I'm like, everybody needs to hear this. How can I support their success?
Yes.
Get into the business world. Do it
Yes.
from behind. So that's
awesome.
where like I even tell people like they keep bringing up that I shot the t-shirt cannon at Reggae Rise Up Vegas on
Right.
Bump Knuckles set, which was insane. But I literally can't recall it. I blacked out. I don't go on stage. I'm not a stage person.
Right.
I work in the background. I saw videos of me doing it. Very cool.
Yeah.
But like I don't recall that. So it's funny that like I don't have a place on the stage. That's not for me.
Right.
But I want to be able to do anything in my power to make sure that that's all they have to worry about is being on stage doing their craft.
Right. That's awesome, man. Could you imagine being an actual musician though and having that stage fright? Like, how was last night's show?
That would be awesome.
I have no fucking clue. Was I even there? I don't remember.
That's probably how it would go.
That's funny.
It's just I've not been in that position.
Right.
I don't know any instruments, so being on stage during a performance like that is like, what am I doing here? I don't belong here.
But you do, and that's why I love having people like you on the podcast because, a lot of podcasts, they have, the actual artists, and I love having them on. I've had some great artists on. Just had Ian Young on Saturday. That was fantastic.
Nice.
I've had some Natalie Rise, Groundation. Had some really good artists on the show. But I really, really, really love having folks like you and folks like, John Schwartz, just because people... When they buy a ticket, they go to the show, they buy some merch, they have a beer, they go home. They don't think about what went into that, How did that band get on that stage? How did that merch get here? How did it get into my hands? And that's what makes the show happen. Obviously without the talent, there wouldn't be a show. But I mean, without the sound guy, without the lighting guy, without the, the merch guy, without the promoters like yourself, this just, it's the behind the scenes, kind of like my podcast. If it wasn't for my wife, I'd just be a guy talking into a microphone. She is, the behind the scenes that makes it all work. You know what I'm saying? And makes people know what it is. And that's really cool. It's extremely important part that people don't know about. And that's why I love talking to folks like you. So speaking of that, what do you think that the smaller reggae artists, I didn't say smaller, but the more underground reggae artists need most right now that often gets overlooked?
I feel like I'm going to sound like a broken record because a lot of people hear me say this, but I think you really do need to invest in your merch. I think if you have an insane merch game, people are going to buy that at every single show that you play.
Sure.
And that revenue keeps the dream going. It keeps gas in the tank. It keeps you guys in hotel rooms because you probably don't have the type of vehicle to house you.
Right.
You know? So
Yep.
I think it really is important to make sure that your merch game is strong, because if it
Right.
sells well, which it will if you put the time, money, and effort into it, you're going to see that money come back tenfold. You could be
That's
the
right.
opener that nobody knows, but they just saw you put on a killer performance,
Yep.
and now your merch is awesome. Double whammy, they're buying it.
Amen. Yeah, and I'm not going to mention the band. I'm not going to mention anything, but I know you had told me that you had helped with merch somewhere, sometime, and the revenue that was collected, the number that I heard was absolutely astounding, and I was like, my God, that's amazing. So from hearing that, I mean, what you just said, I believe you definitely hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Kind of opened my eyes, because I know my wife and I, every show we go to, we always buy merch, because I know that's what keeps the band on the road, you know, keeps their their stomachs full with Taco Bell, you know, buys them a beer at the next show, that kind of thing. And it's extremely important. But you know, you're right. If you've got that ultra amazing merch, you know, people are just they're gonna want to buy it. They're gonna want to wear it. You know, it's your design, it's your brand. You know, you might as well make it pop.
Right.
So I definitely agree. So, have you seen real world connections or opportunities that have actually come from you just simply sharing somebody's song?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Nice.
I've had, I mean, more than I can count, honestly. Just I didn't, I think you had asked me earlier and I didn't actually even finish my train of thought. Happens.
Nice.
I got to meet so many people through social media that I would have never met outside of that, because maybe they are in Arizona or California, or
Right.
you know, in different areas where their market might be here but they haven't tested it yet. So I've gotten to work with some really cool people without ever even meeting them, just because they found my page, or somebody, a mutual, put us in contact, or you know, it's so cool, like the reach that my music content has, because it's landed me a lot of cool relationships that I've been
Sure.
able to grow with.
That's fantastic. Yes, and the same, I can totally relate to you. It's a beautiful thing when you're out there doing your thing, you know, and people appreciate it. You know, it's amazing how they'll reach out to you and be willing to, you know, to work with you and give you the time of day, because I think an artist realizes that you're working like they're working, and I think they appreciate that, especially when you're working for them, you know, to get their music out there just because you love it that much. You know, I think that they definitely appreciate that.
That's definitely how I've landed a few of my interviews. It's like, well, you know,
Yes.
you put one of my songs on Music Monday, so let's do it. Like, you know.
Yes.
But it's
100.
like, you know, they're joking, but it's also half just the fact that, like, you know, in the most humble way possible, for the most part, people like me. I come off pretty chill at a show. You know, I'm not going to bombard you with, do you want to get an interview with me? It's,
Right.
you know, the same way that you hit me up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you know, John mentioned your name. I think it would be really cool if we did a podcast. It's like,
Yep.
heck yeah, man. I'd love to do a podcast.
Hell
so,
yeah.
you know, sometimes it's just like you meet a cool person, maybe through another cool person, maybe through a show, maybe through whatever. And it's just all about how you present yourself and you know, how you come off. So I feel like I have been able to, through social media and in person, come off as the same person.
Right.
And
that helps.
Yeah, that has definitely helped me.
Yes. Yeah, being genuine helps. And I'm kind of glad that our the podcast didn't work out the first couple of times, because it allowed us to have multiple conversations, you know, and I feel like I got to know you a little bit more before you came on. It wasn't just like, hey, will you come on? Yeah, come on. Now I feel like, you know, I've been able to talk to you and kind of, you know, like I said, get to know you a little bit. So, you know, everything happens for a reason. So it's kind of cool. Definitely made it a lot more comfortable and a lot more personal feeling. So, you know, I love it. It's awesome.
And it gave us more to talk about.
That's it. That's never a bad thing with me. I'm always looking for more to talk about. 100%. So why do you think community building is just as important as talent, especially in today's music scene?
I have told people countless times, I do a lot of social media marketing.
Right.
And I think some of the best practices that I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'll talk about online first, then go into in person. But
Okay.
online, if you're one of my favorite musicians and you post something and I comment on your post or your reel,
Mm-hmm.
it's imperative that you answer me back. You hit me with a
Right.
like and some kind of response, even if it's just an emoji.
Right.
You got to engage with your people online just as
That's
much as
right.
you're engaging with them in person, because maybe I met you at a show and we had such a great conversation and now I feel even more connected to you, fan to musician, and now I'm commenting on your Instagram or your
Right.
Facebook or your TikTok. I'm going to, like a normal person, I'm going to want you to remember who I am
Right.
and give me a response back in some type of way.
Sure.
And I think it's super, super, super important for musicians to harness that type of mentality. I know the bigger you get, the more comments and likes and DMs and all that kind of stuff you're going to get. But if you can just take like 10 minutes out of your day,
Right.
section it off, and just go
Mm-hmm.
through and at the very least hit everybody's comment with a like. Try
Yep.
to respond to as many as you can. Try to
Right.
reshare when they tag you in something. I can't tell
Mm-hmm.
you how many times I've gone on Instagram and looked through my stories and people like Shwazy, he is always sharing anything that somebody tags him in. And then
Right.
it's cool because most of the time those people are cool and they're sharing cool
Yep.
stuff. So,
Yep.
they just have his song in the background. And it's like, make sure you're doing that online and in person
Sure.
equally so that your people know that like this is a solid community. You care about them, you appreciate them.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's beautiful. And at the end of every podcast, the first thing I sign off with is there's strength in unity, build your community. And you're exactly right. Responding back to somebody online or giving them the like or the smiley face is, it's very important. It's like being in a conversation in person and it only being one-sided. It's not really going to
Right.
last that long if you're not responding to me. I'll say, hey, what's up? If you don't respond, I'm going to walk away.
Right. And I mean,
um,
same even goes for me of like the community that I've built in my area. Well, honestly, like on both coasts too, because I'm
right.
always in the Fort Myers area, Bonita Springs. The people that I have on both sides of the coast that support me and care about me as a human being.
Sure.
I've talked about the fact that like there's been times where I just haven't been feeling well, either like sick or just like mentally just not feeling it, and not
Yep.
gotten to posting Music Monday till 3 p.m. and
Hmm.
genuinely had people reaching out to me, like wondering if I'm okay because they're
Oh, wow.
expecting it to be posted in the morning.
Sure.
So like it's gotten to a point where like my people support me with whatever I'm doing. They'll be completely honest with me. I just tested the waters last year of like what's it like to make a channel on Instagram. I have
Right.
over 100 people in my channel. Like I was
That's
not
awesome.
expecting that at all, and
Right.
it's just cool to know that I've built a really cool community within what I'm doing on social media and what I'm doing in person and the
Sure.
things that I'm looking to build and grow on. So having those people on my, in my corner is crucial.
Oh, 100%. That's what makes it a community, having people
Right.
that, not only just follow you, but they care about you and support you and, genuinely are like looking forward to what you're going to post. That could be the highlight of
Right.
somebody's Monday. Probably is the highlight of quite a people,
I
quite a
hope
few
so.
people's Monday. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's also,
Yeah.
I hope they know that I've got their back just as much as they've got mine. I
There you
support
go.
them equally to how they support me.
That's
So it's
absolutely fantastic.
equal, that
Yes.
energy is completely equal.
Yes. And it should be. And that's pretty much what defines community. We all look
Right.
out for each other. And we all have each other's back equally. That's fantastic. Yep, it definitely is. It's a two-way street. So
Hmm.
that's very cool. So I know that you have worked in a lot of different roles within the music industry. What did those experiences teach you that the fans don't usually see?
Ooh. Quite honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is like all the times I've failed. Obviously, I'm not
Right.
pumping that out to everybody. Oh, look, I
Right.
didn't succeed with this one. But
Yeah.
it's, it's everything in this industry is trial and error. And there's been
Sure.
so many times that I fell flat on my face, or I blatantly just did not succeed with something that I was really
Yep.
hoping I would. And I'm not gonna, amplify those events, but at the same time, those are going to happen. And it's all about
Of
how
course.
you build yourself back up and how you try again, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, give it another
Yep.
go, try a
Yep.
different way.
Yep.
Let it be the fire under your ass instead of something that makes you feel like, oh, if I failed this time, maybe I should stop trying. Absolutely not. Just try differently.
That's it.
So, that's something that I do not, show anybody or really talk about outside of my close friends and my family. But those things that haven't worked out for me open doors for things that have.
Sure.
So those are the things that people see.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I was a restaurant manager for a really long time, and I one of the things I would always say to my employees, like, man, I messed up. I was like, look, everybody makes mistakes. It's how fast you recover from it and continue that makes you who you are and who you're going to be. It definitely makes you successful, because that's the difference between success and not, and being not successful is everybody makes a mistake.
Right.
You have to recover from it and
you're gonna have
move on.
mistakes. You're gonna fail. Right.
That's it.
And
Yes.
that's exactly it. It's how are you gonna move on?
Right.
Learn and grow from it. Use it as a
Correct.
lesson and keep going.
Yes. Don't just give up. Yeah, I had
Right.
when I first started podcasting, I had all of my new computer, my brand new mixer, mics, everything up under my AC intake on the ceiling. Anyway, it started leaking, and I woke up in the morning. I walked outside, and there was a puddle all over my laptop. My mixer, you could see where the water was just falling down in the holes. I was like, oh, my God, all ruined. I called my friend, the lead singer for Street Level Uprising, Jay Cantor, and I was like, I fucking quit. He's like, what? I was like, I quit. I'm done. I'm not even doing this anymore. He's like, what happened? And I told him. He goes, bro, you have too much to say to quit. He's like, you have a message. You need to get it out there. He's like, you're not quitting. And I was like, you know what? You're right, man. I wanted to at that point, but I didn't. So thank God I have a beautiful wife. Within a day, I had a new mixer ordered, a new laptop ordered, had everything on the way. It was gorgeous. But, I could have, I made a mistake. I did something stupid. I put it in the wrong place. I didn't think, could water leak from here? And sure enough, it did. So, but, I recovered from it, and I moved on, and here we are now. But, like I said, it's just shit happens. It's kind of a real thing. But it's, once again, it's how you recover from it. So, now, what surprised you the most once you saw how things work behind the scenes and behind the curtain?
Well, because there was quite a few things. I make the joke to my best friend Amanda. She used to work for Disney. She was a performer there.
Right.
And I tell her, I was like, how I felt going into the music industry is probably how you felt going into Disney, of like, oh, I'm seeing the magic, which in
Right.
turn takes away the
Sure.
magic because I know the trick.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
like a
magic.
magician revealing its trick.
Yep.
I know how it works now. So the magic element was kind of like, oh, well,
Right.
logistically, yes, now I see how that works. I understand that now.
Right. Yep.
Or I'm a piece of that puzzle of how that's working, and being a part of that, which is incredible. So, and because I know that that's how it was for her over at Disney, that's how I relate it. And I don't know. I thought it just really how like production works, like how
Right.
everything and everyone fits together in that puzzle for the night of show.
Sure.
Like that was the coolest thing to see how that breakdown works.
Right.
Versus, just experiencing it as a fan, just watching it happen. Because really
Yes.
everything else on the business side, I picked it up quickly. I understood that made sense, and just logistically, sure, this is how that works. And, working for AEG, I think that's where I was like, okay, so this is how it gets grouped up. Like there's the buyers, there's marketing, there's the tickets, there's, all these different departments that take care of the different things. And working there, I got to work alongside a lot of really cool people that let me shadow them. So being able to see how they operate and what goes into their role, which in turn is how the whole show gets put on
Right.
by the night of the show. It was just cool to see that step-by-step process, because I never really did know how it comes to fruition.
Right. Yep. Like watching the magic come to life. Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing. Like I was kind of touching on earlier, a lot of people don't even realize everything that goes into making it happen. You know, the massive sound checks that they do. It's just, you know, tweaking everything to make sure that it's right for the people that paid however much they paid to get in, so they have a great experience. Yeah, I've always said, you know, even I've thrown some festivals. We just had one, reggae festivals and shows and stuff, and I'm like, the sound is the most to me the most important thing, because you can go, it could be like the food was kind of this was kind of but if it sounds crappy, yeah, you're going to be disappointed, you know. But if everything else was kind of, maybe it is what it is, but it sounded great, you're going to be like, yeah, well, you know, my slice of pizza wasn't the best, but man, it sounded freaking amazing, you know. And it's like,
Right.
But people don't understand what even goes into, a lot of people don't, what even goes into making it sound great. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's
And you
a
know, like how
lot.
I was talking about merch earlier, how like your merch
Right.
game needs to be on point. You bring up a good point too, is your sound needs to be on point. You need to make sure that you are locked in, you have the proper equipment, you're doing those sound checks to ensure
Yes.
that come that performance, when everybody's eyes are on you, you sound impeccable.
There you go. That's it. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's why I'm there, you know?
Exactly.
Yep. To
People
see the
bought tickets
band.
to see that, you know. So
Yes.
you got to make sure you sound good, and you
Yes.
can be the best musician ever, and you don't have the right equipment. Your sound isn't going to sound good.
That's right. That's 100%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can have the best Les Paul, man, and, you know, and the best, you know, Marshall stack, but if it's not tweaked and tuned, you know, and adjusted right, it's not going to do it justice. So you're exactly right, 100%. So this is a pretty cool question. How do you stay grounded and positive in an industry that can sometimes be pretty chaotic and once in a while be kind of discouraging?
Yeah, can't it? I think that's something where, you know, as a woman, it is a lot harder for me, blatantly,
You're right.
than a man.
Amen.
I mean,
That's
I'm
right.
seeing men my age and younger doing exactly what I want to be doing already,
Sure.
and they're doing it. So
And that's a real
instead
thing,
of,
you know? That
oh
is a
my gosh,
real thing.
yeah.
Yes.
But instead of looking at them and being like, screw them, I want to do what they're doing, and how come I
Right.
don't have that, and I want that, you know, and being in that type of mindset about it, it's how are they doing what they're doing, and how can I connect with them to learn how I can do that too. I want to learn as much as I can from the people that are doing the things that I want to do,
That's
so
right.
that I can do it too. So
Yep.
when I get told no, and I get told not right now, that's not anything to take personally, and that's not against any of my skill set, my merit, my personality, nothing about that.
Right.
It's just simply business.
Sure.
So if they can't do it yet, or it's a no, okay, let me take me and my services elsewhere. You know,
Right.
like it's nothing to take personally. And I think that's where, I mean, I'm a pretty soft individual. I'm a Cancer, you know, like I'm
Right.
very emotional. But
Yeah.
I know when to separate my emotions from business. And
Sure.
when somebody, you know, might be speaking harshly, they might not be speaking harshly because they're mad at me. They're
Right.
probably speaking harshly because they're stressed with the situation. And there's
Exactly.
got to be a resolution to it, and one of us has to figure that out.
That's right.
So I think that's somewhere where I really have to put myself in the mindset of like, as discouraging as some things can be and hearing some things can be, it's also just as much as a reward to know that, like, okay, well then maybe that wasn't for me, and there's going to be something
Right.
else out there that absolutely is, and I'm going to kill it when I get there.
Amen. Man, I knew that was going to be a good question. I love that answer. You know, you can't take it personally, because 9 times out of 10, and my wife says this all the time, it's not you, it's that person. You know,
It's not about
might
you.
be something that's going on in their day. You know, they could have
Right.
just had some bad news. Their dog could have just died. I hate to put that energy out there, but I mean, being serious, you
Right.
know, and that could
Right.
dictate how they're responding. Yeah, but also, like you said, if it's not going to work, I'm going to pick my stuff up, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to find somewhere where it does work. You know, and then you're going to kill it, because you know you have something special that a lot of people aren't doing, and you know that's an absolutely beautiful thing. Thank you so much for that answer. That was amazing. So I love the hell out of reggae. Obviously, you have the podcast or radio show. It's a lifestyle. So for you, what is it about reggae, especially the independent scene, that keeps pulling you back?
Ooh, I think it's because that's what I fell in love with when I fell in love with music.
Right on.
I grew up listening to all different types of genres. My dad put me on anything from Eminem to stick figure. But at
Right?
the same time, I fell in love with the independent reggae artists that, like, it's so cool for me to see in the spaces that I'm working or be able to work alongside them, for them, with them, however,
Right.
and they're still independent and they're still doing it and they're capable of it, they're able to, and that's working for them. I think knowing that somebody is trying to do everything themselves is
Right.
so encouraging, because it's like, okay, well, if they're building it themselves, who's to say I can't?
That's right.
And I had a very cool conversation when I had moved over here to Jupiter to really kickstart my own life of doing things freelance and independent and trying to do what I could around here. I had an incredible conversation with Kyle Smith, who
Nice.
tough loved the shit out of me. I told
Right.
him I want to be doing this, and I see people doing this, and I think I'd want to maybe try this. And he was like, "Are you done?" Yeah. And he was like, "All right, so I'm hearing a lot of I want to do this, but you're like not doing anything."
Right.
So
Damn.
that's the mentality of somebody who's independent.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about it? Do
Right.
it.
Sure.
Get to it. Put the work in.
Sure.
You know, plant the seeds, see the fruit.
That's
So
right.
he got my ass into gear, and that's when I ended up getting hired at AEG. I applied myself to that, and I broke in. So it was cool to have somebody who is rooting for me just as much as I'm rooting for them,
Yes.
in two totally different spaces. Of I support him in his music career, and he supports me in my business career. You know, like it's so cool to share that type of energy with somebody who has the mindset of like the most driven individual ever. Like, he does everything himself. He
Yes.
puts it all out there and he gives it his all. And
Yep.
he also, you know, he fails and he picks himself back up. Okay,
That's
let's
right.
try again a different way.
Yep.
It's really taught me to be able to have that mindset as well with a lot of these things.
That's amazing. And I have to say something. I'm not even going to ask, but I can guarantee I'm double your age, if not more. And it's amazing. And I'm so glad that people that are, twice as young as me, are still have this passion for reggae music to keep it going. That's such a beautiful thing,
Absolutely.
because God forbid it dies with my generation, but that's the point
Heck
of me
no.
doing what I'm doing, is hoping that the youth and the younger generation carry it forward, and I'm hoping that it's going to be stronger than ever in 100 years, because you're doing it,
Absolutely.
and people that are younger than you are going to be doing it. If you have kids, or if you're going to have kids, you're going to be sharing it with your kids. I have a 6-year-old grandson that I'm constantly talking about reggae music with, and he's asking me questions, and he's interested, and that's a beautiful thing. I would love to have, him 10 years old out there, promoting reggae to, everybody in his class. So I
was
think
a
it's
camp counselor. I have
Right.
never been one, like, I thought that was the funniest job I ever took, because
Right.
I'm good with kids. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. Like, I'm great with kids. It's just
Yeah.
that's never been my thing. Like, my brother, once again, has always been the one that was like, kids just love him. Kids,
Right.
dogs, and old people just love my brother.
Yeah.
And he's so good with them. He's way more patient than I am,
Sure.
is what it comes down to. And so I said, yes to a job at my old summer camp from when I was a kid. And every single day I would wake these kids up and I would play reggae. I would play like
Right.
really positive reggae. And one song that, like, a couple of them, because they can't have their phones, they wrote it down in their little journals. It was oh my God, it's a song by The Green, and I can't even
I
think of
love
the
the
title right
Green.
now.
Shout out the Green.
If you
Great,
don't
great
think
Hawaiian
about
reggae.
what you say every
Nice.
single time, over and over. Power in the words. There we
There
go.
you go.
I knew if I sang it a little, I'd get it.
Yep.
Power in the words. And it's such a positive song. And it was so cool to know that, like, I'm showing a bunch of 12-year-olds some
Yeah.
reggae music that I really like, that I think is really empowering. and they're like writing it down in their journal for when they get their phones back. Like, that's
Fantastic.
awesome. I'm shaping the youth.
Yes, that's great. I love Hawaiian reggae. I love everything out of Hawaii, the reggae music that comes out of there. So, yeah, definitely shout out to the Green there.
I was showing them
They're
Steel
badass.
Pulse. I was showing them everything that I
That's
knew that
great.
was just like anything that really felt like just positive. And, you know, obviously you have to censor what you're playing in front of these kids. So
Certainly.
I was given the green light of like basically anything reggae, just maybe lean away from Pepper.
Sure. Yeah, right. 100%. That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's why I love it so much. It's 9 times out of 10, it's going to have a positive message, a message about social change, a message about justice for people.
I wrote a research paper on it
That's beautiful.
in college.
Oh, nice. What for what class?
So this was actually in my bachelor's. I took communication.
Okay.
And I took some really cool classes with some really cool professors at FGCU as well. And I was able to write about kind of anything. And so
Great.
for this one, I wrote about what makes reggae music so important to me as a person. And I wrote about the community aspect. And I wrote about, you know, just the message that it gives and how inclusive it is. And you know, the unity aspect, but also the history. So I went into a few different aspects of it. I would love to find it. I haven't seen it in ages, but
Right. Yeah, I'd love to read it.
I'll definitely send it to you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
It was really cool. Like I got to write about some really cool people, and I remember I had to make a video that went along with it. And I included a lot of roots reggae, like how you're talking about with some of the historical, like monumental things that happened in history.
Sure.
Those changes that they went through. And so I incorporated a lot of that. I think I even put Bad News by Soja because that one gets a little political.
Right on.
So that was like the meaning of the research paper was like just the things that it dips into and how it's not just like la 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 good vibes and sunshine.
Exactly.
Like,
yes.
It's not country music where we're talking about my girlfriend dumped me. I can't stop drinking beer. My truck broke down. You know, it's like we don't have the same 3 themes in reggae.
Right. That's right.
But a lot of it is going to be a little more positive. Some of it sounds positive, but if you listen to it, those lyrics are telling a story.
Amen.
And so that's what I wrote about. It was just that, you know, the element of like if you really listen to it, I'll find that video and I'll find that paper and I will send it to you.
That'd be wonderful. And that's one of the main reasons that I got into reggae music at the young age. You know, I've said this on my podcast before. I was a member of Greenpeace when I was 11 years old. I've always been I was a revolutionary kid, you know. Always just, you know, fighting the fight. And yeah, especially Peter Tosh, you know, hearing his lyrics of, you know, the hardline militant revolutionary lyrics, you know, I knew that was music for me. You know, that was my music. And like you said, a lot of it is very, very good vibes and, you know, positive, happy, having fun. But a lot of it is, and I still feel like the militant revolutionary aspect of a lot of reggae music is still good vibes, but it's serious, you know, especially when it got into the 70s, like the mid 70s, when it really started to get, you know, like just, you know, fist up, power to the people. But reggae was created for social change, for revolution. It's an amazing thing. But I think, you know, presenting positive and good vibes is implementing social change because a lot of stuff is going on in the world. You know, I actually had Billy Mystic from the Mystic Revealers on the show, and he's like, you know, we're actually going on tour for the first time in 30 years. And I was like, do you have a lot of new music? He said, yes, but we don't really need to play it because the songs we wrote 30 years ago are still just as valid as they were then as they are now. He's like, I thought the world would have changed and we don't need reggae music anymore because it actually served its purpose. He's like, nope, shit's still fucked up. Pardon my language, but that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
And I was like, right on. He's like, so our message is still the exact same message that it was 30 years ago. And I was like, that's it's a good thing that they're still doing what they're doing. So, yeah, absolutely awesome. Love it. Absolutely. So how important to you is intention when it comes to sharing and promoting music?
Oh, it's everything.
Amen.
I will be so honest with somebody because it's 2 things. It's 2 types of men that enter my DMs. It's the men that are, hey, can you share my song on Music Monday?
Right.
And then it's the, hey, can you pre-save my song every single time? Can you pre-save my song? Can you pre-save my song?
Right. Yeah. That's funny.
I'm going to listen to your music if I like it. I am going to share it if I like it.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't, and
Right.
it comes off disingenuous for me to share that or to promote that,
Right.
I'm not doing it.
Good
Because
for
that's
you.
not coming from the heart. What I post has always been, like I said from the beginning, my social media is mine, and I have the freedom to post whatever I want on it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is share music that I like, that I'm listening to. If
Right.
you send me something and I'm loving it, I'll put it on there, no problem. That's
Right.
genuine. I like it. I might like it, but it might not be the vibe for Music Monday, or
Right.
you know what I mean? Like it's
Yep.
situational. I'll still maybe throw it on the story. Tag me, tag me. Maybe I'll throw it on my story when you post your promo for it, or maybe send me the promo. I'll share it on my story, or I'll tell my friends about it. But like, there's other ways that I can support you outside of me posting something because you told me to.
Right.
I never want to do that because you asked me to do it and I feel like I have to. I want to do it because I want to. If I genuinely think that's the right move for me, or that the people that follow me would want to listen to that or would like that, follow along with that.
Yep.
I even
That's
share things that I don't necessarily love. I mean, there's certain artist friends of mine who know exactly who they are because I love them enough to say, your music is great for somebody. It's not my thing.
Right.
But
I love
I
that.
think it's good. You're really good at what you're doing. It's just not what I personally listen to.
Yep.
So don't stop because it's not my thing. I'm still
Right.
going to support you. I'm still going to tell my friends to go to your show because you're cool and you're fun and you're genuine. It's just not the sound for me.
Beautiful.
That's okay.
Yep.
It doesn't have to resonate with everybody. It resonates with somebody.
Certainly. That's exactly right. I feel the same way on my my podcast that I play music on and my radio show. I literally, everything that I play is what I like.
As it should.
Even if somebody else likes it, if I personally don't, I'm not going to play it because I can't get into it and I can't explain
Right.
it, with excitement. If I'm not like,
Yeah.
I love this. If I'm like, I really don't like it, let me get into it. It's just not. It's impossible. So
I'm the same way.
yep, 100%, and that's what makes it cool. That's what makes it, I don't know, authentic. That's what we were just
Yes.
talking about. And with intention, I think that's
Yes.
extremely important because 99.9% of artists you'll talk to, ask them the question, do you make music for yourself or do you make it for people? And everybody answers, I make it for me.
You should.
Yeah, because if you're trying to please other people, it's just not going to come out right because there's a million people. How are you going to please everybody?
I ask so many people, like close friends of mine or just people that I've worked with, what do you think if I could improve anything to social media, like everything that I'm doing?
Right.
If you can tell me to improve one thing, what would that one thing be? And I've been told before I should make a separate account. And then I shouldn't
Right.
be doing this from my personal account. I should be doing this off a separate account. And the
Right.
main reason why I disagree with them is because I never made this content to blow up. I never
Right.
made this content with the intention of being some kind of influencer
Sure.
or, making content every Monday because I have to, because it's driving the algorithm.
Right.
I'm doing it as a hobby. I'm not getting paid anything for this.
That's
It's just
right.
something I'm having a ton of fun doing.
Yep.
I want to share this stuff with people, and the people seem to like it.
Yep.
So it's
Amen.
my hobby at the end of the day, and it's me, and it goes towards my brand. People know what I'm up to because I post on that account.
That's
If I
right.
had a separate one, I'd never be posting on my personal one
Yep.
because it's just so. That's me in a nutshell. That's me and my brand. That's exactly what you see is what you get.
Yep. That's awesome. I do the same thing, especially on Facebook. I have a Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast page, but I post everything on my personal. For probably the exact same reason. I'm not getting paid to do this at all. Nothing I do, I get paid to do, but I love it. It's like you said, my hobby, and that's what social media is all about on your personal page. Kind of sharing with people what you're doing, and this is pretty much what I do.
Right.
So I can totally relate to you on that one. Yep, that's
And I
awesome.
had heard about you from a handful of people. We have a bunch of mutuals.
Oh,
So
that's
it was like
fantastic.
super cool to hear that like you wanted to do a podcast with me. So I was like,
that's
oh, cool,
wonderful.
I've heard about him. I've heard good things. Or, I know people that have gone on his podcast. Or, like, that's super cool.
That
So I'm
is
glad that we
super
got to do
cool.
this.
Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, I'm sitting here thinking, there's like 4 people out there that know what I'm doing. So that's really cool to hear that.
No, the word gets around.
I know, it's so cool, man. That's, yeah, it does. It does. Especially and that's kind of the important thing is it gets around in a good way, also in a not so good way. That's why you have to, I tell everybody it's very important how you treat people and how you talk to people, because you never know when you're going to run into them again, or when you're going to run into somebody they know, or just, it's extremely important, do everything
That's
with
why you can never talk
love.
smack.
No, definitely not.
As you're saying, do everything with love.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And no smack talk.
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely, 100%, and I firmly believe that. Yeah, because that's kind of the wrong intention to put out there, I think. So you're exactly
It
right.
is.
Yes,
You also
just kind of
don't know who you're talking to or who they're
right.
affiliated
You're like,
with.
oh, that's my
who they're
sister.
friends
Wait,
with.
bro.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
shit. Yes, absolutely. I completely agree, 100%. And speaking of that, great follow up. Social media can kind of feel shallow at times. How do you keep your content, and I know you touched on this a little bit earlier, but maybe you could go deeper into how do you keep your content 100% authentic?
It's so funny. I keep waiting for the day where, like, I'm genuinely sitting here like, got no ideas. Because every
Yeah, me
time
too.
it'll be like a Saturday night or a
Yep.
Sunday night right before the Monday I need to post, and it finally just comes to me. And I'm like,
I
yep,
hear
that's
you.
how I want to do it. That's how I want to do it. These are the songs I want to use, or this is the person I want to interview, or if I just edit this real quick, I could pump something out, and I feel really good about it. I'm excited to share it.
Yep.
I know a few of my friends are probably already like, so when are you gonna post that one, or like, because I keep sending them these videos that I don't end up posting for a while.
Right.
It's like I gotta keep up with like a content calendar, but it's like,
Yeah.
again, this is just my hobby, so it's like whenever I feel like it, I'll do it.
Yep.
But I'm having a ton of fun with it. I forgot the initial question already.
Oh, I was saying, the social media feels shallow, kind of sometimes that people just put stuff out and put it out. So how do you keep yours, authentic? So it's not just that like, oh, she's just putting shit out to put it out,
Right. Yeah. No, I think it also goes back into like, I'm not sharing things because people asked me to do it. I'm sharing it because I wanted to.
Yes.
And because, like I was telling you a little earlier too, like I posted 2 videos within the last year where I threatened to show my boobies. And my grandfather commented on both of them. Ha 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 ha, love you.
That's funny.
I'm supported by all of my close family and friends. They think,
great.
They think the world of me, and they think it's funny, and they know I'm
Sure.
just joking. So like, I can post the most abhorrent things, and they're like, good job, Marina, love this one. Like they support me. So whatever I post, I know that like they would tell me how it is. They'd be like, Marina, that was not the thing to post. Or like, I don't think you should do something like that again. And instead it's, no, you're doing a great job, and you're doing, a great job at sharing music. You're doing a great job with the skits, or, your interview, that one that you posted recently, that one was cool. And it's like hearing that from family and friends that I'm genuinely very close to, and I value their opinion. It's really nice to know that, like, okay, the surface layer friends, the people that you just see around and you're not super, super close with, but you see them a good amount, and they tell you one thing, your family's telling you the same thing, your friends are telling you the same thing. It's like, okay,
there you go.
Okay, I'm doing the right thing here. I think I'm on the right track, because I don't ever want to put something out that feels inauthentic.
Sure.
I don't do retakes on my intros. I think the most retakes I'll do is 3 tries, whichever one is the best one I go with, because as soon as I keep trying to do it, it's scripted.
Right.
Now it's not cool anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, and you heard it first here on Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast. I am stealing your idea. I am going to show my boobies on my next post. So,
but only if you rickroll them.
100%. Yeah. Yes, I love it. It might work. I don't know, man. That's awesome. So, this is awesome because I definitely want to know this. What advice would you give to people who want to uplift artists without kind of chasing clout? You know, they want to, making it all about the artist because that's genuinely what it's all about.
It depends on the type of relationship they're looking to have. Like, if they're somebody who maybe has a social media presence, like maybe they can help by sharing things on their social media when, things arise, like a new album's coming out or singles dropping or a show in their location is coming. If they don't have that, then maybe they're financially stable and maybe they can help by buying some merch, or even just like some people have on their website, gas money or a hotel room for the night.
Sure.
Maybe they can help them in that way.
Amen.
And maybe they can just very free option here, word of mouth, just telling everybody they possibly can about these people.
Yep.
But I think it's, it goes a long way also asking these musicians, human being to human being, hey, how's the best way that I can support you?
There you go.
And following along with whatever they say. If it's sharing the single, share that dang single. If it's, I could really use some gas money, buy that $35 t-shirt. It's however they need the support. They'll tell you, honestly, that's a human being. Just ask them.
Amen. Yeah, and artists are almost 99.9% of them that I've ever come in contact with, and it's been a lot. They'll be honest with you.
Yes, they will.
Yes, most of them are. They're no bullshit. If you ask them, how can I support you? They'll tell you straight up, and that's a beautiful thing. So thank you for that advice. That's awesome. So I know this is a big part of what you do. What role do humor, and I think you just kind of explained this. I'm going to ask again anyway, though. What role do humor and silliness play in staying human online?
It's proven to be huge for me.
Yes.
I think that's where it's been revolutionary, because I will go out in St. Pete, somewhere that is 3.5 hours away from where I live, and I have people who are coming up to me, Marina, it's so good to see you.
That's
I don't
awesome.
recognize them.
Right.
Maybe I sold them merch, or maybe I hung out with them and I was just next to them at a show or something. I'm re-meeting people sometimes, and that is my fault. I come into contact with a lot of people.
Yes.
But it's just knowing that, like, what I'm doing online and the people that follow me and then in turn meet me in person, they talk to me like we've been friends for years.
That's great.
And it's incredible because it's not only just followers, it's bands, it's artist managers, it's tour managers, it's merch managers, it's bookers, it's production, it's all of these different people that might have seen me and they're like, oh, okay, let me follow her on Instagram. Oh my God, she's so funny. I like the stuff that she's sharing. Now the next time they see me, they're talking to me like we go way back.
Right, absolutely.
Amazing. Because it's like, that's how I am. I am silly, goofy, and fun. Like, you don't have to censor yourself with me. You don't have to, you can be you, because I'm going to be me.
Amen.
You're either going to like me or you don't. I don't care. That's not my business, you know?
Right.
So I've gotten to a point of being very comfortable with myself, that what I'm putting out there, maybe some people are saying it's cringe or awkward or it's weird. I don't care. Amen. I don't care, because I'm doing what I love and I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
Yes, that's beautiful. One of my favorite things I heard, one of my old friends was like, it's not your business what other people think about you. And I was like, you know what?
That's not my business.
That's exactly right. Exactly. I don't care. I'm going to put out what I put out and I'm going to do what I like. If you don't like it, I don't really care. It's none of my business.
And that's the thing too, is like, okay, unfollow me. And nobody's holding a gun to your head saying, follow me and support me and like me. I don't care.
But they're not going to do that. They're not going to unfollow you because genuinely they want to know what you're doing. Even if they don't like it, or they say they don't like it.
Curiosity.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I met the Howard Stern when he first came out. That movie Private Parts. There was a part in there where the guy Kenny, pig vomits what he called him. He hated Howard, and they're like, the average Howard Stern listener listens for 2 hours. Average answer, because they want to hear what he's going to say next. And then he's like, what about the people that hate him? He's like, they listen for 4 hours. He's like, if they hate him, why do they listen? He's like, average answer, because they want to hear what he's going to say next. So,
absolutely.
it's you get more love from people following you that, that might not even like you. It's so funny, that dynamic, how it works, but it is a real thing.
It's true. And that's why, I mean, my mom probably thought I was crazy, but when I first started doing this, I was like, I need to put my Instagram on public. Like, obviously, that's
Right.
how that works, is people need to
Right.
be able to see my
There
stuff.
you go.
And my mom was like, no, you should stay being a private account. There's weird people out there. It's like, oh, there absolutely
Yeah.
are weird people out there,
Sure.
100%. But at the same time, I'm a grown adult. And I think it's time that if I want to make music related content and I want a good amount of people to see this, as many as possible,
That's
I need
it.
to do a public account,
Yes.
So that's where it's like, okay, anybody can see me if they want. I don't block
Right.
exes. I don't, view me as
Right.
much as you want until you decide that you don't. That's on
Right.
you.
Yep.
Mute me, block me, do whatever you need, but I'm not going to do anything because it's not bothering me.
That's exactly right. Yes. And I totally agree with that. There are weird people out there, but if they're that weird, they're gonna find you even if you are private. You know what I'm saying?
It's so true.
Yeah.
They'll find your Twitter account.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna find you somehow, because that's what weird
And
people
hey,
do.
man, more numbers. Fine by us, right?
That's it. 100%. I love that. So, looking ahead, kind of, what are your goals within the music industry? If you have like a 5-year plan.
Oh my goodness. Within 5 years, I still want to keep trying all the flavors, and hopefully I've narrowed in on a few that I really like doing full time. I just created an LLC.
Nice.
And it's encompassing everything. It's called Entertainment Support Services, and it is everything that you would need. It's supporting every aspect. I have so many connections in this industry that if I can't do it myself, chances are I know somebody who can. And
Nice.
so that's where I'm kind of trying to take it. I really want to get on the road. I want to tour. So then that's one more thing I can have under my belt saying, hey, I've done that and I understand how that works entirely.
Nice.
And then have people on my team that can go do that while I can take care of the business. That's, end game. That's what I want.
That's
But I
beautiful.
want to be able to still, at the same time, support these artists in any possible way that I can. If that's somebody on my team that runs sound, they can go on tour with you doing sound. Or maybe I have somebody that can tour manage and they're going out on the road with you. Or maybe you just need social media help. And whatever content people are getting, send to that person and they're able to just from home do all of the content and have a content calendar for you that they're doing.
That's beautiful.
That maybe you also have access to so that you can answer the comments and stuff, but they can
Right.
too. And just helping out with that kind of thing. I learned when I was at AEG, I had tagged a very big artist in one of my Instagram stories, and I was gushing to everybody at work, like, oh my God, he replied back to me and he shared my
Yeah.
story. And
Yeah.
they were like, no, you
Right.
liked it and
Right.
shared his story, because I was doing
Yes.
social media marketing. So I was like, oh no. Because
Right.
I was doing that for AEG. So yeah, it would make
Yes.
sense that really big artist has a me that's doing that for him.
100%.
Dang.
Yeah. But it still feels good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. To know that, you got that share and people saw that and,
Yep.
But it's so cool with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I had my heart broken by Drew Barrymore. I wrote her a letter, and I thought I was like, my God, Mom, look, she sent me back her signature in 5 different colors of ink, and my mom's like, that's a stamp, and I was like, son of a damn it, you know what I mean? But it was like, for a minute, I literally thought Drew Barrymore sent me a letter back, and I was like, oh my God, but it's that was a heartbreaking moment when I actually realized it wasn't her, but. Yes, I totally understand, but still, that even though it is you, a lot of people might not know that, and it's just that interaction, like you were saying. It's nice to know that regardless, you're still being kind of recognized on social media by the people that you love and that you care about and that you recognize and that inspire you. That's an absolutely beautiful thing. So now, and you might have just described this, but. Maybe you could go in a little bit further detail, kind of in closing. If resources were not an issue, what dream project would you start tomorrow?
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know if I could answer that on the fly. I've got so many.
That's so hard. Yeah, because I have so many. I would want to maybe make my own festival.
Yeah.
That was a project that I had to do for fun in my master's, and I actually had a lot of fun planning that out.
Oh my God, that's a dope project.
Yeah, right? Like, okay. But no, it did teach me a lot because I had to research a lot of the things that I was like, okay, well, I have this question. I don't know how that works.
Right.
Let's look it up. Let's learn about it. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I think that would be a really fun thing to do. Outside of that, like, I'm still thinking like as if it was tomorrow, you know? So it's like I would pour a shit ton of that into Sugar Shack and start doing the
Yes.
projects that I want to be doing if we had the resources to do
Right.
them and just start
Yep.
doing, you know? We have so many ideas and so many fun things we want to get accomplished that, yeah, if I had all the resources, like, I would start on those projects immediately.
Yes, absolutely. I think
I think
asking
those are the main
somebody
two
like
things I can think of.
me or you that question, you know, I could give you 100 answers. I'm sure you could too. Because yeah, that's how my brain works. I'm constantly dreaming about things I would like to do, and I try to execute them all, you know, that I have the resources to do. But if I had limitless resources, you know, it would, you know, the
Scotty, I have a
sky's the
question
limit.
for you, and it's going to be entirely left field. You ready?
I am.
If you had all the time, money, and resources in the world, would you use it to travel the entirety of space or the entirety of the ocean?
100% the ocean.
Why?
The only reason I say it, well, I'm a diver. I'm a PADI dive master, which is like one step below an instructor. I grew up surfing. Like I said, I dive. Because only I think it's 1/10 of the world's oceans have been explored. It's just so fascinating to me that, for example, the Marianas Trenches, it's the deepest part of the ocean that we've discovered up till now. It's 7 miles deep. But chances are there's parts of the ocean that go way deeper. But what really blows my mind about the ocean are the atmospheres. So every 33 feet's an atmosphere. So the physiological changes that go on in your body from going underwater, you can go up in an airplane, you could fly, you know, you can go up 300-400 feet and with nothing and you're fine.
Yeah.
You go down 33 feet into the ocean, you still have to come up. Yes. And you have, you know, when you're diving, you know, you have to come because breathing compressed air underwater. It's just so fascinating to me how much more changes. That's not correct. Anyway, the changes that your body goes through every inch that you descend into the water. And I just, you know, even on top of that,
the air you have to breathe too with a dive tank.
Yes, 100%. But just, I'm space to me. I'm kind of already living in it. Well, you know, I feel like I'm living in outer space all the time. But
I feel you.
yeah, but to me, it's the ocean is a completely different world, you know, because
and it's right there. Like we have access to it.
Yes, especially diving in it. But I mean, I think outer space would be neat too because the ocean is, you know, contained to our planet. Yeah, there's oceans, I believe, on other planets, but ours is contained to our planet. So I believe that, you know, we have no idea. You know, we think a lot of people, shallow people think we're alone in this universe. And I'm like, you are absolutely crazy. We are not alone. No, you know, especially outside of the galaxies, you know, like the Pleiadians.
Who else would have built the pyramids?
Right. Yes. The Pleiadians, you know, they're like the star people. I'm like, absolutely. Yes. I believe they're real. You know, I really do. And I think that's neat that there's other worlds out there that are probably far more advanced than we are, that are doing what we're doing, or, you know, maybe even, like you said, who the hell built the pyramids? Come on, Stonehenge? Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? So actually, now I'm talking myself into one. That's a really good question.
I'm telling you, I forgot that I used to ask people that one.
Yeah.
And I thought about it again recently, and I was like, oh, man. And I think who I had asked was like, you're sending me into an existential crisis. I can't answer that right now.
Right.
Like, yeah, totally fair. It's a tough one. It's a thinker.
Yeah,
it's
and even when I thought the ocean, now I'm changing my mind. I'm like, you know what? It's a
really hard one.
Yeah, it's true. I had one of my friends, the guy I mentioned before, Jay Cantor, the lead singer for Street Level Uprising. He was like, because I play percussion in some reggae bands. I play the congas and the bongos, and he was like, if you could be a musician or do a podcast, which one would you choose? And you had to choose one. And I finally got to, you know, I broke it down and, you know, doing the podcast, I chose. But I was like, after I said that's what I chose, I was like, I can't answer that honestly. And he's like, well, the good thing is you don't have to.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, you don't have to choose. You can do both. But I mean, it's hard because you start thinking about one, and then when the question is posed to you, you start thinking about the other in a way that you probably haven't before. And then you start to appreciate it more, kind of like I just did with outer space. I was like, I never really thought about that.
My answer used to always be outer space, but the way that you described the ocean, I was like, shit, did I make the wrong choice?
That's what I'm saying. You know, you start to think about things that you kind of dismiss. There you go. And that's a really good, you know, headspace to get into. Maybe I should think about everything in life like that, you know? Always consider the other side, because I think as humans, we have our baseline, and a lot of times we don't go out of that. We don't even consider the other side and think about it, you know, on a really deep level. And when you do, I think you kind of, you know, it might make you look at it a little bit differently. Definitely. Thank you for that question. I love when people ask me questions. I do. It's a lot of fun. So I'm going to do something that's fun. I haven't done this in probably 30 episodes. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Answer them as fast as you can.
Oh, no.
One reggae artist people should absolutely check out right now.
Serenation, because they're making a lot.
No, go ahead.
No, they're making a lot of new music with Adam now as the lead singer, and I think they are killing it. So I'm very excited for this new generation
Jay
of Serenation.
Is no longer?
Jay is no longer.
Whoa. Is Bianca, I believe, that's her name on the bass guitar, right?
Yes.
She's still there, right?
Everybody else is still there.
Okay.
They added in Paul, who's a really cool guy. He's now on guitar and just adds a whole new element. How
long has Jay been gone?
Oh my gosh, like for a good amount of last year.
Wow, man, I need to keep. That's crazy. I don't know. I didn't even realize that. That's nuts. All right, cool.
Okay, we'll start over. Okay, so besides that, because I had some tea with that one.
Yeah, right. All right. So the one reggae artist people should absolutely Serenation, a song that never fails to uplift your spirit.
Power in the Words by The Green.
What keeps you motivated on days when energy is low?
Knowing that I'm building the life that I want for myself.
And a final message for artists grinding it out who might be feeling unseen.
Try harder and be better.
I love that. That is beautiful. Marina, thank you so freaking much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast. This was one of the funnest interviews I've done because it was extremely interactive the entire time. I love that. That's a strong word. It's kind of hard when you have to, you know, carry the interview the whole time and you're answering people's questions for them just to keep it interesting.
I'm a yapper. I'll talk all day, Scotty. I had so much fun.
So am I. The only thing that stops me from talking is the fact that, you know, when you had like too much to drink before the podcast and you're like, oh my God, I have to pee really bad right now. But, yes, I told you I say what I say. I don't care what people think.
As you should. I love that.
I'm so glad that you know, we followed up with each other and we kept this you know, that we kept the line of communication going on because this was definitely a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So tell people where to go to find you Just tell people everything, every link, everything they can go to find you. They can support what you're doing, Sugar Shack, all that fun stuff.
All the things. My name, Marina Kelley, Kelley.
Yes, add the E.
So that's where you'll find me, is with that name on basically everything. Also follow Sugar Shack because you should, and subscribe to them on YouTube. Check out Serenation because I'm telling you, this new lineup is impeccable.
That's awesome.
And go support your local musicians. That's where you'll find me.
Yes, 100%. That's a beautiful thing. Yes, support local music. What I always used to tell people is if it wasn't for the underground, there would be no above ground. Everybody started somewhere. Yep. Everybody. Nobody just formed a band and the next day they were famous.
Right.
So the mainstream exists because the underground exists, and that's it. So definitely support your local musician. So thank you so much once again. And folks, I'll let you know one last time. There is strength in unity, so build your community. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, Hippie-Fari. I'm the only Hippie-Fari in the entire world. I'm very easy to find. Shoot me an email, info@hippiefari.com, and check out my website, hippiefari.com. And catch me every Friday night on WTHC Radio, 8 p.m. till midnight, for Reggae Frequency Fridays, Word, Sound, and Power, Conscious Reggae Radio. And this is Scotty the High-Strung Hippie and Kira the Irie Empress, reminding you to speak your mind before somebody else does it for you. And do something nice for somebody today. Grab flowers for your partner. Smoke out a stranger. Slip the homeless man a buck. But whatever you do, do it from the heart, because all good things start with the heart. Peace, love, and Rasta rhythms are all a part of the reggae revolution. One love, fam.